Welcome to Payoff Pitch, Action Network's Major League Baseball betting podcast. I'm Collin Whitchurch, joined today by Derek Carty of Roto Grinders for a quick look at the Friday MLB slate. It's a really good slate, actually. We are about 10 days from the end of the regular season. The baseball gods have tried to give us some playoff drama here. The Guardians are now 3.5 back of the Tigers in the AL Central somehow. It was 10. It was a 10-game lead 15 days ago. It's now 3.5. The wild card drama continues. The Guardians, speaking of the Guardians, they're now only a game and a half behind the Red Sox. Mets hanging on there in the National League, 2 up on Cincy and Arizona. Some big series getting started today. None bigger than Mariners Astros, tied atop the AL West lead right now. 3 games starting tonight in Houston. Might just go a long way toward deciding that division. But we've got quite a few bets for you on this Friday. So let's jump right in to our best bets. Derek, I'm going to throw it to you first. Phillies Diamondbacks in Arizona. Like as I mentioned, the Diamondbacks still clinging to some playoff hope. Phillies pretty well locked into the 2 seeds. Still got a shot at catching the Brewers for home field advantage in the National League. We got Taijuan Walker against Ryan Nelson today, and you have a pitching prop for us today.
Yes, we're looking at Taijuan Walker under 5.5 hits, -135 at Fanatics is the best price on the board right now. But you can take this down to -180, -190, I would say is still going to be fine. I think 1 or 2 books have flipped to 4.5 at plus money, like +120, +130. That's fine too. Walker is going to be piggybacking with Walker Buehler today. And so in a piggyback situation, the starter usually doesn't go as long as he normally does. So Walker might only go 4 innings today, maybe 5. I doubt any longer than that. And so if we're getting a 5.5 line at any sort of reasonable odds, I think that is a great bet today because Walker probably will not be in the game long enough to give up that many hits unless he is just really, really bad.
I'm wondering if this is the first time in MLB history that we have a piggyback situation that works as a before and after. If this were a Jeopardy category, Taijuan Walker Buehler piggyback situation.
The manager, when he announced that they were doing this, he was so pleased with himself for the wordplay. It was so funny.
Love that, though. Walker under 5.5 hits allowed in Phillies Diamondbacks. That's Derek's best bet. For my best bet, I'm going to the aforementioned Guardians against the Twins tonight. Very happy to back these 2 starting pitchers against these 2 offenses. It is Parker Messick against Pablo Lopez. The issue with taking unders in Twins games, of course, is that they have arguably the worst bullpen in baseball since trading everyone under the sun of the deadline. Probably the second worst bullpen to the Rockies, definitely the worst in the American League. That's mitigated in a couple of respects tonight. One is that Pablo Lopez is starting, as I mentioned. 2 starts back since returning from injury. He's gone 6 and 5 innings, respectively. More importantly, approached 100 pitches in both outings. There doesn't seem to be any restrictions on him from a workload perspective. Guardians' weak offense makes me confident he'll get through at least 6 here. The other is that the Minnesota bullpen, for all its warts, is at least rested. I don't know if you can really say there are any trustworthy arms back there, but the guys they do rely on, Cole Sands, Cody Funderburk, Michael Tonkin, all of them were off yesterday. The Twins were off yesterday. Tonkin hasn't pitched since Tuesday. Sands has only thrown once in the last 5 days, Funderburk twice. They're not the most reliable arms, but they are the most reliable arms on the Twins. The Guardians, as we mentioned, cutting into that Tigers lead, they've been on fire lately. They've won 7 straight. They've won 12 of 13 and 13 of 15. But it's been because of their pitching, not their hitting. That 15-game sample I just mentioned, they've scored more than 4 runs just 4 times, despite going 13 and 2. Which is kind of remarkable, considering, they've won 13 of those games. Pitching has just been dominant. They've got one I like a lot tonight in Parker Messick. The Cleveland pitching factory has regularly churned out guys like Messick, polished college pitchers coming up that they refined into workable mid-rotation starters. With him, with Tanner Bybee, with Gavin Williams, I don't know if they necessarily have the next Corey Kluber or Shane Bieber among these guys, but Messick is a strike-throwing lefty. He's got 5 pitches, a hard sinker that induces a fair share of grounders, 50% ground ball rate so far in 5 starts. I have little doubt he's going to get through what's left of this Minnesota lineup. Cleveland's bullpen is less rested than Minnesota's. The Guardians played yesterday. They completed a sweep of the Tigers and Tarek Skubal. But Tanner Bybee did go 6 innings yesterday. Of Cleveland's key relievers, the only one who's thrown in back-to-back days entering tonight is Tim Herron. So, they've worked a lot, but they're not coming into this game particularly exhausted. And also, with Cleveland in the thick of the playoff race, they're going to go to the Cade Smiths of the world if they need to, if the game is close late. Most importantly, though, neither of these offenses scare me. Starting pitchers are really good. The one question mark in this matchup, the Minnesota bullpen, I think at least holds its own tonight. I have under 8 here in Guardians Twins. I see some 7.5s out there. I like that a little bit less, but if you can get 8 out there, I like that a lot as my best bet tonight. Let's move on to our favorite underdogs and plus money props. I have an outright underdog. Derek, you've got a fun one here. In Nationals Mets, Brandon Sproat's making another start for the Mets. Andrew Alvarez is going for the Nationals in this one. You have a stolen base prop here. I'm curious if this handicap has to do with, I'm guessing it has less to do with the base stealer than it does either the pitcher or who's projected to catch that pitcher.
You would be correct. I'm going with James Wood over half a strikeout at plus 750 is the best line on the board right now at DK and 365. I'm good taking this down to 650, which most books have. Yeah, like you said, this has less to do with Wood than it does with the matchup. If you look at what Wood has done this year, he has stolen a base in right around 10% of his games. At plus 750, we need about 11 or 12% in order for this to be positive expected value. So this can't be based on just Wood. What we're looking at here, though, is pitching that I think is very susceptible to stolen bases. Brandon Sproat is a guy who allows stolen bases to a good extent. They are most likely going to be using Alvarez today behind the plate, who is decent at preventing steals, but he is not as good as either of the backups, Torrens or Sanger. So the more favorable of the 3 catchers. And then the bullpen sets up really well for a stolen base as well. The Bad X's fatigue model has Davinsky, Suero, and Brazoban as the 3 most likely pitchers to go today, taking up about 45% of the Mets bullpen innings today. And they are the 3 relievers that the Mets have that are the easiest to steal on. And so this sets up as a chance for Woods really to steal at any point during the game, which I like.
Brandon Sproat Francisco Alvarez combo did allow 1 stolen base in his last time out against the Reds. That was by Noelvi Marte stole base against Sproat and Alvarez in that matchup. The start before that, 1 stolen base for the Mets opponents, but that came off Edwin Diaz and Francisco Alvarez, which is a matchup we could also see tonight. So that's really fun. That's a really fun plus money prop. Again, you said plus 650, plus 750 range there. It pales. It makes my underdog here pale in comparison. I'm taking a team that's around plus 100, maybe even minus 105, depending on where they're at and when you're listening. I'm on the Braves money line tonight against the Tigers. Just got to keep talking about the AL Central. I have no way of mentioning the White Sox tonight. So after going with Guardians Twins, I'm looking at the Tigers. It's Bryce Elder against Charlie Morton. In this one, Uncle Charlie just ain't it anymore. Sorry to say, he turns 42 in 2 months. It's fair to wonder whether this will be the swan song on his 18-year career. One has to wonder if he'll even make Detroit's postseason roster after they brought him over from Baltimore at the trade deadline. Morton's primary struggles have been with his command. You mentioned piggybacking there for the Phillies tonight. AJ Hinch has attempted to pitch around Morton's struggles with his pitching chaos plan that he rode to success with the Tigers last fall. That's why Morton's only been going 3 innings or so his last few starts. He barely pitched into the 4th and not into the 5th at all over his last 3 starts. I would imagine that's part of the plan. I would imagine that's one of the reasons the Tigers have Morton following Skubal in the rotation. They would presumably have a well-rested bullpen for Morton starts, given Skubal's normal dominance. The Tigers did only use Troy Melton and Tyler Holton behind Skubal yesterday. But given the Tigers' general struggles of late, only Will Vest and Rafael Montero are really rested among their key relievers. They do have Chris Paddock. He threw on Wednesday, but only 7 pitches, and it was his only appearance in the last week. It's possible we see a piggyback situation tonight where they go from Charlie Morton right into Chris Paddock. That is beneficial for a tired bullpen, but a Morton Paddock piggyback is not something I would be incredibly confident in against this Atlanta offense. For all of the Braves' faults this year, they're still top 10 in walk rate against right-handed pitching. It's still a very dangerous offense. Of course, the other side of the pitching matchup isn't all that pretty either. I'm slightly more bullish, though, on Bryce Elder. He's looked a bit more like a major league caliber starting pitcher since he's gained some stability in the rotation. Whether the stability was by virtue of necessity or not, to be determined, but he's looked okay. He had a 6.29 ERA at the end of July. Since then, he's pitched to a 4.42 ERA. His FIP in that same span is 3.38. So he's looked good. He's also missing more bats than he has ever before and issuing far fewer walks. You have to be careful a little bit about buying into hot streaks like that this late into the season. So many rosters are barren. Teams sold off parts. They're giving more playing time to young guys, etc. But during this streak for Elder, he's faced the Mets, the Phillies, the Cubs twice. So, he's facing some pretty good offenses. The Tigers, they go through funks like they're in right now from time to time. They could snap out of it at any time and just beat up on Elder tonight. But given the pitching woes for Detroit, Morton, Paddock, whoever they throw out behind them, I don't really see why Atlanta's as underdog here tonight. I got them around plus 100. I would bet them minus 105 or better tonight against the Tigers. The NFL season is officially here, folks. To get the most out of the award-winning Action app, you'll want to be an Action Pro subscriber. Only Pro subscribers get real-time pick alerts from experts like Sean Kerner, Chris Raybon, Sean Zerillo, Derek Carty, and our entire Action Network team. Plus, you can access our Pro projections powered by Kerner and our predictive analytics team. To celebrate football's return, we've got a special offer. Just go to actionnetwork.com/pro and get $20 off the annual price with the promo code PAYOFF20. So don't miss out on the best bets at the best prices. Visit actionnetwork.com/pro. Use promo code PAYOFF20 to get $20 off a year of Action Pro. All right, final bets time. Derek has 4. I have 2. We are not leaving you hanging with best bets as we enter this weekend. I will go to you first, Derek, for your bet in Royals Blue Jays. This is an Apple TV Plus game. Max Scherzer against Michael Lorenzen, and another pitching angle you have here.
Yes, I'm looking at Michael Lorenzen under 3.5 strikeouts plus 128 at Rivers is the best line on the board right now, but I think you can definitely take this down probably close to even money. The bat's projecting 3.4 here. So especially if you can get it like plus 105, I'm definitely fine there. Lorenzen is going on 1 day rest. Now he only threw 12 pitches a couple days ago, which could easily just be viewed as, a normal side session, bullpen session kind of thing. But he's not a guy with a long leash to begin with anyway. KC is a park that suppresses strikeouts, and Toronto is the least strikeout heavy offense in baseball, essentially. And so there are lots of outs here for this one to hit.
Yeah, when betting strikeout props this season, I generally, one of the first things I look at is what pitcher is facing Toronto and is there good value on their under. So that's a good spot tonight. I have a strikeout prop here as well. I have 2, but I'll go first to Athletics Pirates. The game everyone's going to be watching tonight in Pittsburgh. Luis Severino, over 4.5 strikeouts. Severino's missing fewer bats than he ever has before in his career. Swinging strike rate, 7.1%, down from 9.4% last year, and from his career rate of 10.5%. One of the major culprits is that hitters are making more contact against Severino when he works outside the strike zone, which seems kind of strange. His O contact is 71.4%. It was 61% last year. His career rate was 59.4%. This has been less of an issue, though, against more strikeout-prone teams. 2 starts ago, Severino struck out 7 Angels in 5 innings. The Angels are the most strikeout-prone team in the majors. Tonight he faces the Pirates. They're 7th in strikeout rate in the majors, also have the 2nd worst offense in baseball against right-handed pitching. So I think that it's a good opportunity. Even if he's not like completely dominating it from a strikeout perspective, he'll go deep into the game. more than likely against an offense like Pittsburgh's. Much has been made about Severino's struggles in his AAA home ballpark, but his strikeout rate's actually better in Sacramento, despite the fact that his ERA and his overall results are not. So I really like over 4.5 here. It's at plus money. Just seems too good to pass up. Severino's prone to blowups, but against the Pirates offense, not a spot I would expect that to happen. I think he pitches deep enough into the game, misses enough bats to get us home on over 4.5 strikeouts. In Athletics Pirates, you've got 2 walk props to give us now, Derek. I'll let you go through both of them here. We have Brewers Cardinals, Jacob Mizorowski against Sonny Gray, and then Drew Rasmussen you have a bet on in Red Sox Rays.
Yes. So I'm looking at Mizorowski over 1.5 walks allowed at plus 135 is the best line on the board. And then Rasmussen under 1.5 walks allowed at minus 110 is the best on the board. Mizorowski really just comes down to this is a guy who struggles with his control. And I think the price that we're getting on it is off. The Bat X is projecting close to 2 outs, and we're getting plus money on it. So this is really nice. In terms of Rasmussen, a guy who is generally kept on a pretty short leash, 75, 80 pitches or so, in a matchup where Boston is a very low walk team. And so this one projects really well too.
Yeah, Mizorowski, that's a really sharp play. I think that he's had some starts where he's reined in his command, but for how good his stuff is, the scouting reports on him coming up through the minors was, while the stuff's really good, he just doesn't always know where it's going. And we've seen that rear its head from time to time. A couple 3-walk starts. He had a 2-walk start just 2 outings ago against the Pirates, who don't draw walks. So really like that. And Rasmussen as well. Some matchups with playoff implications tonight. My final bet is I had to find a bet tonight in Mariners Astros. It's the game of the day. It's the game I'm going to watch. It's the game I most want to watch tonight. And it's the best pitching matchup you could possibly get out of this series too. Hunter Brown against Brian Wu. Probably the game 1 starters for both of these teams. Come playoff time. So the bet I have here is the biggest player props edge on the board for this game, according to Actions Pro Projections, which I found in the Action Network app. And it's under 6.5 strikeouts on Brian Wu. I am fading him from a strikeout perspective. Wu has struck out 13 and 9 batters, respectively, in his last 2 games. Really, really impressive stuff. But those games were against the Angels and Cardinals, both of whom strike out plenty. Tonight, he faces an Astros team. They're bottom 10 in K rate against right-handed pitching. And Wu has faced the Astros twice this year, not surprisingly, given their division rivals. Those 2 starts, he struck out 6 one time, 5 the other time. So 6.5 just seems too high. I think that we're being a little too reactive to Wu's last 2 outings. He's facing a team that's really tough to strike out in a game that is, I wouldn't be surprised if both these managers manage this like a playoff game. I think that if it's tight, if it's tied, if it's a 1-run game and it's the 5th inning and Wu walks a guy, gives up a couple of hits, and it's like a critical moment, I wouldn't be surprised to see the Mariners pull this trigger there on bringing in their bullpen, because these teams are tied in the division. They've got 3 games this weekend. They need to manage this smartly. So wouldn't be surprised to see Wu get an early hook, even if he's going well. And even if he's going well, I wouldn't be surprised if it's not in the strikeout department. So I don't have a great feel on this matchup, on the money lines, on the totals, etc. But the one bet I do like is fading Wu in the strikeout department. As of this recording, under 6.5, best line is minus 145. That's at both Bet365 and BetMGM. All right, final bet of the show comes from you, Derek. I love this because it's another who the hell is this guy. I have heard of this guy. I knew what team he played for, thankfully. We're going to Marlins Rangers, Jansen Junk against Tyler Mahle, and one of your patented hitter strikeout props.
Yes, so I am looking at Troy Johnston under half a strikeout at plus 165 is the best line on the board here. This is the prop that the Bat X is showing as the best value on the board today because Troy Johnston is a lefty, and he's facing a Rangers team that has 4 lefties in the bullpen. 2 in particular are very rested, but all 4 have a chance to make an appearance tonight. And he's facing Tyler Mahle, who is coming off an injury and is not going to be able to go super deep. He's probably going 60, 70 pitches here. So Johnston at the back of the order might see Mahle once or twice and then get pulled. And that would be really awesome. So under half a strikeout plus 165 for Johnston is, if you can find that, that is one of my best bets of the day.
Love that. Johnston, a 28-year-old rookie, 36 career games, 101 career plate appearances, and 23 strikeouts. He has been starting a decent amount for the Marlins here down the stretch. 17th rounder out of Gonzaga, the epitome of guy who worked his way up, career minor leaguer. Let's hope he gets a start, does not get a strikeout tonight in Marlins Rangers. But that'll do it for today's episode of Payoff Pitch. Thanks for tuning in. If you'd like to tail some of the bets from today's episode, look for the quick slip links in the episode description. Don't forget to download the free award-winning Action Network app. Leave us that 5-star rating and review wherever you listen to the podcast. Also, check out the Action Network Discord. There's a link in the episode description of this podcast as well. Also, if you're on Twitter, we have a great new feature. If you see a bet from any of your favorite action experts or anyone on gambling Twitter, you can now tag @Playbook. Tell our bot to build you a bet slip at the book of your choice. It will build it out for you with a quick slip link that opens right up to your sports book. So keep an eye out for that new tool @Playbook on Twitter. Even if you just see someone take a picture of their bet slip, see someone post a 5-leg parlay that says, "This is what I'm betting tonight," go in their replies, hit @Playbook, and say the sports book, and it'll spit out that link for you right there. Or you can type out your bets. If you want to tail us on our best bets tonight, hit @Playbook. Give me a bet slip with Taijuan Walker under 5.5 hits allowed, and Guardians Twins under 8. It'll hit you with a bet slip there as well. Very cool stuff. I've been using it a lot. We will be back on Monday with another episode of Payoff Pitch. Well, we might be back on Monday with another episode of Payoff Pitch, I should say. A little programming note. Monday's MLB slate has 3 games on it. We got Nationals, Braves, Brewers, Padres, and Cardinals, Giants. Sean Zerillo and I will be back if we have bets on that slate. It's 3 games. It might be a 5-minute long episode where we give out 1 bet, but just a little programming note with Monday's little odd scheduling quirk. It'll create an odd scheduling quirk for Payoff Pitch as well, potentially. But for Derek Carty, I'm Collin Whitchurch. Thanks for listening to Payoff Pitch, Action Network's MLB betting podcast. Good luck with all your bets tonight, and have a great weekend.